A guten Erev Shabbos. What a schus it is to be back after Pesach. What an amazing Pesach. I hope everybody had a beautiful Pesach. Baruch Hashem, I have a tremendous level of hakaras hatov to Hashem that I get to be here today and have survived the challenges this year of Pesach, and I was freed as the rest of you were, Baruch Hashem. This week's Parsha is Parshas Shemini. Before I start, if Eli is speaking about this Parsha, I just want to express our gratitude to two individuals. One wants to remain anonymous, and the other one, at the very least, gave us the ability to say something of a refuah shalema for his father, whose name is Avram Shlomo ben Cyril, who should have refuah shalema b'soich sh'ar chol Yisrael. These two individuals were very, very kind, Baruch Hashem, and they sponsored the beautiful Pirkei Avos program that we had today. I want to speak about one of these people before I speak about the parasha. A quick story, a beautiful, powerful story, but very quick. The person that this program was sponsored for refuah shalema, who should live and be well and should come back to himself very, very well and to be healthy. About 3 years ago, he started developing, he's an older person, not old, but an older person. He started developing a certain level of, perhaps one might call it dementia. I wouldn't exactly say it's dementia, but something very difficult. His mind was not working clearly, and he was forgetting, and it was very, very difficult for his family, and it was sudden. It was very shocking. He's a very healthy person, very robust. He does exercise, he gets around, he's smart, he's Bal Kaireh, a very intelligent person. And it was very, very scary. The family did whatever they could. They brought him to doctors, and doctors said they really don't know what one can do. We hope for the best, but this is normally how it goes, and it progresses worse and worse. That's pretty much what they said. And sometimes it comes all of a sudden. Nebuch. A few weeks ago, the son of this Avram Shlomo ben Cyril, he decided he was going to get his father's tefillin checked. And in the meantime, he gave his father his own pair of tefillin. He brings the tefillin to the sefer, and the sefer looks at the tefillin, and immediately, just by looking at the tefillin, the sefer saw that the tefillin were puzzle. His tefillin shel roish were puzzle. What had happened is that 3 years before, a sefer had come to the shul, a visiting sefer. This happens every now and then. And he had come to the shul, and it was announced, if anybody would like their tefillin checked for free, all Jews love to hear for free, he will check your tefillin. He checked the tefillin, and by doing so, ended up making the tefillin disqualified. He made them puzzle. The Rav of that shul spoke a few days later and announced anyone who got their tefillin checked by this person, get your tefillin checked quickly because this guy was not reliable and you need to get it checked. That was 3 years ago. This person, Avram Shlomo ben Cyril, was not there a few days later, didn't hear the announcement, and had been wearing his tefillin for 3 years, and it was only the tefillin shel roish. Once he started wearing his son's tefillin, clarity started coming back to him. I'm not saying he's totally healed. Obviously he's not. And we're still davening for him, Avram Shlomo ben Cyril. But his mind started working more clearly by wearing the tefillin shel roish that was kosher. He then told his son with more clarity, he told him that I want you to know, when I had most of the more intense episodes, fainting, falling on the floor, terrible, it was always during Shacharis. I was in shul wearing my tefillin during Shacharis, and that's when I had my episodes falling down. Amazing, a powerful thing. Certainly it should be a schus refuah shalema for Avram Shlomo ben Cyril, but it should also be something eye-opening for the rest of us. The power our tefillin has on us. You wear your tefillin on your head, you think it's just a mitzvah, just another mitzvah, even if the word could be said. Somebody came over to me today. He said, in our class, it's just me and such, and the other person, I said, just you? I said, how can you say just you? You're an incredible, amazing, superstar person. Is it true? Did I say that? Whoever it might be. Yes, I did. But it's not just tefillin. It's a tremendous, powerful, spiritual force that you have on you. Like we know, of course, the Gemara says that anybody who wears tefillin shel rosh properly, non-Jews around you are afraid of you. The yaru mimeka, they'll be afraid of you. Shem Hashem is on your head. Very, very, very powerful. It was very striking to me, that story. This is Parshas Shemini. Parshas Shemini talks a lot about things which are kosher and not kosher, and the effect that eating kosher and non-kosher has on us. I'll just tell you personally, when I was 18 years old, I went to Eretz Yisrael. As Hashem, the rest of you should be fortunate to go to Eretz Yisrael and get to learn yeshiva there for at least 20, 30, 40 years. As Hashem, at least. But I went to Eretz Yisrael. You get to Eretz Yisrael, at least back then it was more like this. The food that you have in America, not all of the food, that's how it was. Not all of the food that's available in America is available there in Eretz Yisrael. So, although I love to eat Twix and Snickers, Milky Way, and all the good stuff, in Eretz Yisrael I didn't have that. So what did I have? The chocolate that was available. There was no Yoo-hoo and Nesquik. They didn't have that in Eretz Yisrael. Even the strawberry flavor, which I have to say I did like, and I know people don't like the strawberry Nesquik, but they don't have that there. They didn't have that there. So at that time, I was forced, so to speak, to start eating Chalav Yisrael. Chalav Yisrael. And you know what? I found it to be very easy. It's very easy. You know what? Encore is not exactly Twix. It's not exactly Twix. But am I such a Baal Taiva? Am I so into food that the discrepancy between Twix and Encore is so important to me that I need to go after the food? I'm not even saying halachically a person has to eat Chalav Yisrael. But that year in Eretz Yisrael, and Baruch Hashem, it wasn't just a year that I got to be there. It gave me a little bit of a training, Chaim, to be able to appreciate you don't need all the food all the time. And in this week's parsha, there's a lot about food. I have a Rabbi, I quoted him many times, Rav Shlomo Brevda Zecher Tzadik Livracha. Rav Brevda would say, and I've said this a lot of times, what did he say? If you want to work against your Yetzer Hara, don't eat doubles. Thank you, Rabbi. Don't eat doubles. Don't eat doubles. Pile up your plate, he would say, up to the sky, big boy. But don't eat doubles. Why? What's so bad about doubles? I'm going to have the same amount of food anyway. I'm piling it up to the sky. Because you don't always need more. You don't always need more. It's amazing what Amazon has done to us. You have an Amazon app on your phone. Imagine back in the day, remember Waldbaum's? Waldbaum's? Like ShopRite. They used to have Waldbaum's. We used to go to Waldbaum's. No, you know Waldbaum's? Waldbaum's. Yeah, imagine ShopRite or Talk. Those days, the store. Imagine Wolf's. Imagine Wolf's had an app on your phone. You'd be shopping there all the time. You're not just walking to, you have to go up, stand up, and walk to the store and down the block. But this culture of it's so easy to shop and shop and shop and shop and shop, it's so attractive. I got to get more. And to control that in yourself, it's not even what I want to talk about, but it's so important. This parsha talks about food and kashrus and what you can eat. And of course, we're being careful. Everything we eat should have a hashgacha, especially going past Pesach. Everything we eat has a hashgacha, whether it's an OU or a star K, or if you eat OK, or if you eat all the other hashgachas that Baruch Hashem are available, or you go to the stores in this neighborhood which has kihila kashrus or Tarnopol, or I don't know, the hashgachas that are here in Brooklyn. But if you have a store, it's so easy nowadays. Of course it's kosher. But just because it's kosher doesn't mean you always have to eat it. You don't have to run after food all the time. You can control yourself. You can keep yourself together. It's a Jewish trait not to go overboard when it comes to these things. It's a very interesting pasuk. The pasuk in the beginning of the parsha, it talks about the carbon that Aaron HaKohen himself had to bring when he became a Kohen Gadol. Finally, he gets to be a Kohen Gadol. And after talking about the carbon, it says in pasuk Vav, Vayomer Moshe said, Ze hadavar asher tziva Hashem ta'asu. This is the matter that Hashem has commanded that you should do in the future. Ve'era aleichem kavod Hashem, and Hashem's covet, the glory of Hashem, which as Hashem, that'll be the next meeting we're talking about next month, covet. But the glory of Hashem will appear in front of you, will be seen in front of you. Now, if you read the next psukim, it doesn't give any new commands. What is the command? Zeh hadavar shetziva Hashem ta'asu. This is the command that you should now do in the future. Rashi is talking about something in the past. That which we had already spoken. Sephora says talking about something in the past. What is the command that you should be doing right now? Now, my chumash over here does not have a Targum unison, but it's a medrash too. The medrash says, and Targum unison says also, you know what the command here right now is? You're bringing carbonis. That's good. Carbonis are very, very holy. Yeah, Ariel is going to bring carbon for us, and Tanel is going to bring carbon for us. Yeah, our Ashua is going to bring our carbonis for us. Our Kahanim are going to take care of us. It's a very, very holy thing. They're very elevated to be able to do that. But there's something even more elevated, and that's what the Medrash says. Zeh hadavar. This is the matter. You know what the Medrash says, Chaim? And Targum unison says, what it says? Working on your Yetzer Hara. Bring carbonis, that's great. No. Spend some time talking to your Yetzer Hara and getting him out of your life. Getting him out of your life. I haven't seen it. It's very strange. You get Yeshiva Shashgacha Pratis. Yeah, you know what's Yeshiva Shashgacha Pratis? When you see two things you're learning which have nothing to do with each other, and the same exact concept comes up in both Sfarim. Very strange. This week, the same exact. Rabbi Milstein was very kind to buy me a set of the Sefer Arvei Nachal. In Arvei Nachal, it quotes the Sefer Chesed LaAvram. I think it's the grandfather of the Chida. It quotes the Chesed LaAvram. And then I saw the Ben Ish Chai last night, also quotes the same Chesed LaAvram. What does the Chesed LaAvram say? He says that when a person turns 20 years old, in Yeshiva, when they turn 20 years old, they used to cry. They used to do it by you in Yeshiva? The night before the first Meir of 20 years old in Teres Moshe. Okay, we're all Bali Tshuva. But in Teres Moshe, it used to the night we turned 20 years old, the guy is davening the longest Shemini Esrei and he's crying because he knows now he's going to get judged based on Shalmala. Okay, so he's crying. So the Chesed LaAvram says that when a person turns 20 years old, every night they should say to themselves that I find Ra to be disgusting, and I'm dedicating myself to be good. Okay? And if you really do that for the whole day, for 400 straight days, then your Yetzer Hara will be gone. Do that every night for 400 days. 400 days, you do that, then Ra will be ripped out of you and Yetzer Hara will never bother you again. Yeah? Okay, I don't know, try it. So Ben Ish Chai says it's in this pasuk. How do you see in the pasuk? The pasuk says ta'asu. Ta'asu is tough. Tough is 400. Asu, do it 400 times, and then the Yetzer Hara will be ripped out of your body. But you have to learn to talk to your Yetzer Hara. Talk to your Yetzer Hara. What does your Yetzer Hara want you to do? What does your Yetzer Hara want you to do? Does he want you to have a calm life? Yesterday in class, we were learning the Sefer Peliyetz. It talks about Yishuv Hadas. He says that Yishuv Hadas is so important because all of us are distracted by the smallest things. We're Yasmi, he says, we're orphans as it relates to concentration. The Yetzer Hara is looking for you to be lost constantly, not to be able to focus on what's important, on what's real. Quick, listen to your phone. I was talking to one of my dearest friends today. He spoke to me about how he had gone on the Appalachian Trail. Appalachian Trail is a major hike. It's like 2,000 miles up from the southeast of the United States up to the northeast. It's a tremendous trail. And you're going on that trail. I was wondering, I asked him, what did people do as they were walking? What do they do when you're walking on the trail? Are they listening to music? I imagine listening to music because I imagine they're too afraid to be with themselves and have calm time just to think and go through life and experience what's around them and just to go there. I imagine that. He said no. He said no, people weren't listening to music. They were just walking. And I found that to be so pure. So purifying to think about that. The Yetzer Hara wants you to not get lost in actually thinking clearly. Just have chaos in your mind. Don't ever think clearly. Listen to music 24/7. A guy told me, even when he takes a shower, which I wanted to write a book called These Are the Things I Think About in the Shower, because the last time that people actually have time to think about it. No. In the shower, he has music blasting in the shower. I found that to be very sad, personally. Not like sad like I'm making fun of it. Honestly, like crying sad. It makes me feel very sad that the person doesn't get the chance for just some peace and quiet to think. The Ramchal says that's what Pari tried to do all the time. The avodah kasha of Mitzrayim, the difficult labors of Egypt, were in order never to allow us to stop and think, to have clarity, to be in control of our minds. What can a person accomplish when they have peace and quiet? I went to a shir down when I was in Florida over Yom Tov. So when I was there, I should say I wasn't in Florida. I was in the shul of Rabbi Ephraim Shapiro. That's where I was. I spent every single day there. I went to every single one of his shiurim. I did not miss a shir. I did not miss a minyan in his shul. The only minyan I went that was not in his shul was the very last day to catch a flight. He had no minyan at the proper time. So I davened in a Chabad the last day. You usually daven in a Chabad to like a 10:30 minyan. I davened the 7 o'clock minyan. But I went there specifically. I found it to be very interesting. In his shiurim, what he does sometimes is, he says an amazing concept and he gets into it, and then he says, and we have to stop and think about it, 7 seconds, no noise. And then, for 7 seconds, everyone is absolutely quiet and actually thinking about what he just said. Imagine that. Appreciating something, stopping, thinking about it. We have Shabbos Kodesh coming up. The whole world goes silent. The kids have that book still, and the whole world was quiet by Matan Torah. And Torah was given, the whole world was quiet. Thinking about somebody else. I want to tell you a story about one quick story. Yesterday, my wife went to Menachem Oval. Someone in our neighborhood, their mother was nifter. The mother's name was Mrs. Gross. I don't know who she was. She passed away. And my wife told me a few stories that she had heard by the Shiva. And one of the stories was this. This Mrs. Gross, she was a tremendous Balas Chesed. The people who came to her house, she took care of them, whether they smelled, whether they were scary looking. People came to her at all hours of the day. On Pesach night, when they went to go open up the door for Eliyahu Hanavi by Shafai Chamascha, they got there and there was a scary hulking guy standing by the door. And all the kids finally start screaming, Eliyahu Hanavi's here! No, it was one of her strange visitors who would come in at that time. She used to go visit a home for the blind. Home for the blind? She took care of the blind. We used to joke with my uncle. My uncle was the chazan for the deaf. Yeah? So, he wasn't such a great voice. He was also the Baal Tekeh for them. Okay, fine. So, she went to the home for the blind to take care of people there. And whenever she went, she always got dressed up in her nicest clothing, put on her sheitel in a beautiful way, put on her makeup beautifully, and then she went. And her children said to her, Ma, they're blind. They can't see how you're dressed. Why do you always dress in your finest clothing? Good question, no? And she answered, a simple answer, because they deserve it. They deserve me putting my best foot forward. When she went like that, you act differently. You present yourself differently. She put on gorgeous clothing for people who couldn't see it, because that's what they deserve. They don't deserve anything less than other people. That takes a person who used quiet, peace and quiet, to remove their Yetzer Hara from them. When night comes, says the Chesed LaAvram, say, I hate evil. I want to be good, Hashem. I want to be better. What do we do at night now? Every night, what do we do in the tunnel? Every single night. Spheres Ha'omer. A great time. Of course, Sadiq. But every single night, Sfiras ha'aymer, a quiet time to say, I am counting every single day towards Kabbalah Satira. The nighttime is the time of quiet, time of peace, time to think, time to appreciate. Do you think that's something we could do? Appreciate the quiet sometimes? It's scary nowadays. I read a book, it's called Quiet. It's a good time to think. Appreciate it. Shabbos Kodesh, what better time to have that? This week's parsha is Parshas Shemini. It's a time to think about how we can accomplish this. The pasuk ends by saying, if you do this, v'yera aleichem kavod Hashem. You'll be zeicha to experience a revelation of Hashem. You'll be elevated. You'll be supreme. You'll be above. You'll see things. We should all be zeicha to see those things. We should be zeicha to a beautiful Shabbos and beautiful Zmiris. And I want to say a tremendous mazel tov to Rabbi Edelman and the Edelman Shpach on Menachem's Bar Mitzvah. Zeicha to read the Torah beautifully. And everyone's invited.